Welcome to my Build Your Own Pro Quality WordPress website course. So what exactly are we going to cover in this course? Well, we're going to start off with registering a domain, making sure you're comfortable with that, and why I always recommend using another service provider and not the same service provider that you use to host your website. And then number 2, selecting a host. There's different pros and cons with different hosts, and I'm going to share a few of them with you. Number 3, setting up a host on HostGator. HostGator are one of the best shared host providers out there, one of the cheapest and one of the most reliable shared host providers. But I'm also going to show you setting up WordPress on another host called Traffic Planet Hosting, and they are what you really call a specialist WordPress host. And if you can afford to pay a little bit more money, I'm going to cover why I recommend using Traffic Planet Hosting or another specialist WordPress hosting provider. We'll then after that move on to editing basic settings in WordPress. So once you've got WordPress installed, there are a few basic settings that you'll need to make sure are in place just before getting going with your design process. Number 7, installation and initial setup of the Genesis framework. The Genesis framework is a really excellent framework, so coding structure for you to start your website design off with. It's fast, it's efficient, it's SEO friendly, a lot of good reasons for using it. I'll cover the reasons why you should use it and why you should also get going straight away and how to actually set it up. Number 8, selecting, editing and personalizing a child theme. So the Genesis framework is a theme, but you can have a theme within a theme in WordPress. And so it sounds a little bit confusing to begin with, but essentially a child theme provides the look and feel of your WordPress site. The framework provides the efficient coding structure. So what you'll want to do is have Genesis set up to begin with, and then the child theme, you can select that from a design perspective. So I'm going to cover choosing a child theme and also editing and personalizing that as well. So that'll really provide the core look and feel of your sites. We're also going to look at widgets, which are little programs that provide additional functionality in certain sections visually of your blog. So normally within a sidebar or footer and perhaps in a header section. And then we'll conclude by looking at plugins. Plugins, very important programs that add additional functionality to your website. There are thousands of additional programs. I'm going to look at 3 distinct plugins that I think you should be looking at to begin with. And after that, I'll give you a bit of an idea of what kind of plugin is generally important to be using on your website. So that's an overview of what we're going to be covering, but let's start off with registering your domain. Now I'm going to start off here at the beginning, registering a domain name. Now this is something perhaps you have already. If you have your domain name already and you're comfortable with this process, then you can skip to the next video. But if you're not, then pay attention. So what domain name am I going to search for here? Well, a few moments ago I just had a look at a few different domain names that I could use for this process here. So I've got one in mind already, which is byopro.com, which is quite nice to say, fairly short, and doesn't of course include WordPress in there. Although this course is called Build Your Own Pro Quality WordPress Website, I wouldn't want to include the word WordPress within there because that's their trademark. So this still sounds quite nice in relation to the course. byopro.com. It's something that's fairly easy to say. And of course, I host the Digital Marketing Radio podcast on a regular basis. So what I can say is when I'm talking about this course is I can say, go to byopro.com and that will go directly to the course. So I'm going to show you using that domain name an example of how to set up a WordPress powered website. However, what I want to do is actually keep that website up there. Once I'm finished this demonstration, I'm going to redirect the domain name to this particular course on Udemy. So byopro.com is the domain name that I'm going to be using for this particular example. So let's search domain there, and we see thankfully it comes up with a domain that is available. So yes, your domain's available, buy it before someone else does. So I will buy this one here. So it gives me different options to add on other domain names or other versions of the same brand if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that in this instance. I'm just going to click the select button there at the top. So I've selected this domain name there, and it's still asking me to add other selections. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to continue to cart. Okay, so going through to the next screen here, it gives me lots of other options like adding protection, privacy protection, and websites in there as well. I don't want to do that with this particular domain name, and I suggest that you don't either. Because what I do, and what I recommend doing, is by having the domain name register and having the host of your website as two separate bodies. There's a few different advantages to that. The only downside is that perhaps it's a little bit more difficult to manage, and it may end up costing you very slightly more. So quite a few website hosts, for example, throw in a free domain name to try and tie you to that host a little bit and keep you there longer. I prefer the freedom of registering my domain name at a service like Godaddy and then pointing that domain name to the host that I choose. That way, that if I get upset with my website host in the future, or I want to move my website, I can very quickly and easily do that, and my domain name and host isn't tied together in the same provider. I also don't like giving the one provider too much control over everything. So, for instance, if a website host gets upset for some reason with something that's happened on my website, and maybe someone's even hacked into my website, but my host thinks that it's me that's been insecure with something that I've done, and perhaps the host clamps down and doesn't give me access to my website, that would be very difficult then to move away from that website host. If you've got your domain name registered at another provider, then you can quickly and easily have a copy on your website going to another host and repoint your domain name in the future to that new host. So that's just a couple of reasons there. I don't want to get too complicated with regards to different possibilities, but I just want to emphasize that my recommendation is to have your domain name registered at a separate place to your website host. So let's continue along to your cart. Now, the next stage in the purchase process is to actually select the length of time that you want the domain for. They'll give you a bit of an offer, perhaps, to actually try and register the domain name for a longer period of time. I tend to just stick with the minimum and just automatically renew that, just to pay the minimum amount at the moment. So as you see there, with all the fees, it comes to about $13 or so. You may have a particular offer. It could even be less than that. It may be slightly more than that, but that's the kind of ballpark that you'll be talking about. So let's proceed down to the next stage in the checkout process, which is paying for your domain name. So this is the next stage in GoDaddy. The next page, just adding your payment information. So obviously I'm not going to do this on video. I'm just going to pause the video here, enter my payment information here, and then click place your order. And I'll see you on the next side. And this is me 30 seconds later, and I have purchased the domain name byopro.com. So what I've done is obviously entered my payment information. I had one final confirmation page where I had my address details on there, and just had to confirm that everything was right. So your business address should be on there as well. You need to have an email address associated with your domain as well. That could be something like admin at your existing domain name.com, or whatever email address you want to be displayed to people inquiring about your domain name publicly. Great, okay, so that's the domain name registered. Moving on to the next stage in the process. So this is the confirmation email that I've received from GoDaddy.com saying that I've registered the domain name byopro.com. So I'm just going to click this button within the email, Access All Products. Now, when I click on the Access All Products button inside the email that I received from GoDaddy once I registered the domain name, then it goes to my admin panel inside GoDaddy. So let's do that now. Okay, so here we are inside the admin panel, And there are a few different options here. So what we want to do is actually click on the domains section. So inside there, you might have lots of different domain names registered. You might have just the one, but whatever it is, just find the domain name that you are going to work on and click Manage. And inside there, you'll see something like this. So this is the domain name byopro.com, and this is all the settings of that domain name in Godaddy. So what I can do here is I can change where that domain name points to in terms of the server. So if I tell Godaddy that this particular server is where the content is that should be loaded for this particular domain name, then when someone types in the domain name into their Internet Explorer or Chrome or Firefox, whatever browser they're using, then the correct website content will load up there. So the important thing is here to be aware of something called Nameservers. Nameservers is something that your host gives you, and all you have to do is click Manage here and update your Nameservers in most occasions to actually change the location of the server of your website. So it's the same domain name, but it just tells your domain name registrar where your website is hosted and where it should load content from. So when I click Manage here, then this pops up here, which is the name server settings. So at the moment, it's the standard ones that you get within Godaddy. Yours might be slightly different here, but all you do here is click Custom, and you can actually change them by adding a name server here. So the key question now is, where do you get these name servers from? Well, you now need to register with a website host. Godaddy, I'm suggesting just use it to register your domain name and then point your domain name to your website host. So which website host should you use? Well, you've got a couple of different options that I would recommend. Firstly, HostGator. Now, HostGator are a fairly cheap solution. They're reliable, they're cheap, they're fairly decent in terms of performance. What I'm talking about here is the shared hosting. They're very, very good value. So starting off here at this particular offer for $3.96 per month, you might see it for $5 a month, something like that. Generally, it's about $5 a month for HostGator. The second recommendation I would give would be for a service called Traffic Plant Hosting. So Traffic Plant Hosting is more expensive. This is actually from $25 a month, so a much higher expense in terms of hosting. So what's the main difference? Well, first of all, Traffic Plant Hosting is generally a lot faster, and it's also a specialist WordPress host. And you'll find that the support you get here by clicking on support at the top of the screen here, just up here, then your support is fantastic. I've been with them for quite a while, and I've had responses within 5 minutes for lots of different queries. So, pros and cons with different ones here. HostGator, the great thing is, of course, the price, and it's easy and quick to get up and running, and I'll show you how to do that, but I'll also show you how to use Traffic Plant Hosting. So the main consideration is probably your budget. If you want to be paying something like $5 a month or as little as possible, I would recommend HostGator. If you're comfortable paying $25+ per month, then I would recommend going for Traffic Plant Hosting, and then you'll get faster performance and that great level of support there as well. So you pick your poison, you pick your host there, and whichever one you pick, I will show you exactly how to get up and running on that particular host. Okay, here's how to get started on the HostGator website. So just go to the HostGator website and click on the Get Started Now button. So I've clicked on that, and the next screen you get to, it says choose a plan. So let's scroll down here and have a look at the plans. So you've got the hatchling plan, the baby plan, and the business plan. So let's tell you the main differences between those three. First one is the one to go for if you've just got the one domain name, the one website that you want to actually host there, and you want it to be as cheap as possible. The next one is if you've got multiple websites that you want to host in the same plan. And the next one is if you want to have an IP address and also have a free support number, not just support chat and email to actually get in touch with them, so most people, I would imagine, if you're setting up the website for the first time, will probably go for this hatchling plan. So click sign up now, or click sign up now on whichever plan you want to go for. So moving on to the next page of the hatchling plan. Now you see the two options here are either register a new domain, so enter your domain name, or I already own this domain name. So remember what I said in previous videos, I highly recommend you registering your domain name with another third-party service. I recommend Godaddy for that. So the domain name, of course, that we used previously was byopro.com. So I've copied and pasted that into there as well. Now you have to decide on your time, your billing cycle. Now the big headline, of course, was $3.96 per month, but of course it's only $3.96 per month if you commit for 3 years, and you may not want to do that. If you're confident that you want to stick with HostGator, then of course go for that. It's probably the best value type plan to go for, but they're trying to sell me more domain names here as well. If you're not that confident in the length of time that you want to commit to, of course you can go for as little as 1 month. So that's completely up to you there. So after selecting the length of your hosting plan, you simply have to select a username. So that can be whatever username you want to actually access the HostGator service with at any point in the future. Your own security PIN number there as well, your billing information, and here's something to bear in mind here, the add additional services section. Now at the moment these are pre-selected here. Now normally if you have your WordPress installation up to date, then it's not probably going to be necessary to spend more money, an extra $1.67 a month here, to actually add this service here. And also another one here, site backup. Now you don't necessarily have to do that, and it's also something that you can arrange yourself from within your own blog. So because of that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the ticking of that there as well. You may have a coupon code, you may not there as well. So just select what you want to actually select in terms of coupon code, the monthly plan that you're going for, and I would probably untick these as well. Enter your payment information there, read the terms of service of course, and then after that click the checkout now button. So I'm going to do this, and then I'll see you on the other side. And this is me now inside the HostGator control panel. Now there are lots of interesting options here about adding different things to your hosting account to display different types of websites and change things like email as well. But the only thing, of course, at this stage that we're interested in is installing WordPress. And that is this button here. So straight away, it says get started with WordPress today. So click on that button there, and then you'll be taken to a page that looks something like this. So this is how you install WordPress on HostGator. Now, if you scroll down here, you'll see there are lots of premium options, they call them there, ways to drag more money out of you, but I'm pleased to say that that isn't required. So all you have to do is click on the install WordPress button here. So let's do that just now. So install WordPress there, and it takes you down to this section within the website here. Now, I've only got one domain name here in the hosting, byopro.com. So here, and then the second option is install in a path. So essentially, if you've got a website that's up and running and you're wanting your blog or your WordPress CMS not to be installed right on your root domain, then this is where you'd enter your folder name. So for instance, if I wanted my WordPress to be installed on byopro.com/blog, then I would just write blog here, and then that would install WordPress within that particular folder. If I happen to have a website with another CMS or some other page on the home page, and for whatever reason I didn't want to install WordPress in the home. That's probably not the case with the majority of situations. You're probably just selecting the domain name there and then leaving this blank here. The next thing to do is to enter your admin email to actually sign up to log into your admin section of the blog, enter the blog title, the admin username, your first name and your last name there as well, and then click Install WordPress. Don't worry too much about this, because this information can be changed within WordPress once you actually do installation. So just pick an email address, your blog title, the username, your first name, your last name, and click Install WordPress. So I'm going to do this in a second, and then I'll see you on the inside. But in fact, before we get to inside the admin section of your WordPress installation, I just wanted to show you the next screen that you get. Because I signed up, I entered those details that I told you there, but I went to this page here. And of course, they're trying to sell you something else. There's no need, certainly at this stage, to pay for a theme that they suggest. I will probably suggest some to you, but in the meantime, don't buy anything else. Just log into your blog and I'll show you how that works there. So I clicked no thanks, I'm a website designer, and it just takes you to here, and it gives you lots of different options to buy things. But don't worry about this page at all. You can actually close this window down, and then what you'll do is you'll receive an email which will give you your login link and username and password to the admin section of your blog. So if you don't receive this within a couple of minutes of signing up, then check, if you're on Gmail for instance, check the promotions tab within Gmail, and you'll probably see the email in there. If you're not receiving it, then check your spam filter and other email applications, but you definitely will have received an email with your username and your password and your login link. Let's go to the next video and I'll show you how to log in to your WordPress back office. So in my previous video, I mentioned that I received an email from HostGator confirming the setup of my WordPress blog and also with my login details, and this is the email that I received. So this is the email that you need to actually look out for and see if it exists in your spam folder, in your promotions folder, or wherever. So this is what you need. Now I don't mind actually showing you my password, because by the time I display this video in my Udemy course, the blog won't exist, because this particular blog is only an example, and of course I'm going to forward byopro.com to the course, so that'll be the nice domain name that I can say on my podcast, Digital Marketing Radio. Just go to byopro.com to go to this course. So that's why I've got the domain name really, but it's also to show you how to set up a WordPress blog or a WordPress powered website within HostGator. Now, it's funny actually, the difference between a WordPress CMS, a WordPress powered blog. A lot of people think of a blog as just being something that they publish on a regular basis, giving their opinion on something. But of course, WordPress is more than a blog now. It's a CMS, and it can produce really professional websites. So that's probably what you're using it for. So website powered by WordPress can of course be really good. So anyway, what I need to do now is log in to my admin section of the blog. So if I click on here, you will actually see that it doesn't work. Why does it not work? Well, let's have a look at the website address, byopro.com. It doesn't work, of course, because I recently registered this domain name with Godaddy. And what I'm going to have to do now is change the name servers of the domain at Godaddy to point to HostGator. So in one of the first emails that I received at HostGator, it gave me the name servers. So I'm going to have to copy and paste the name servers over from HostGator, this HostGator email, into Godaddy. So let's show you how to do that. Okay, this is me now logged into my Godaddy admin panel. So go and log into your Godaddy admin panel, and then after you do that, what you want to do is click on domains. And after you click on domains, what you want to do is select the domain name that you're working on. So the domain name that you are wanting to publish the website on. And when you're in there, you'll see something like this. So we've been here before, of course. So what you want to do is click on the Manage section next to your name servers, and you want to select Custom here as well. So now, of course, you've got your custom name servers that you will have seen in your email that you received from HostGator. So what you want to be doing, I've got it in Notepad here as well. So I've got an example here. These aren't actually my name servers. This is just an example number, but it will look something like this, NS001. It could just be a couple of numbers here. It could be something like this, but basically it's going to be something.hostgator.com is probably going to be your name server. So whatever it is for you in your email, you want to copy and paste the first one here, select add name server there, and copy and paste it into there. And then do exactly the same thing for the second one there, copy and paste, and add it in there as well. And then once you've done that, click the save button. And then once you've clicked the save button, you'll be brought back to this screen, which is your domain details screen. And you will have probably noticed that your name servers is actually just the same as it was before. It hasn't looked as if it's been updated. That's because it takes a while sometimes to update the name servers. It could even be as long as a day. It could be as short as a few minutes. It just depends how long these changes take to propagate. It can happen very quickly, as I say. It can take a while. So what you will have to do here is possibly wait a little bit, possibly even a day or longer, until you have full access to your domain name. So we'll come back and we'll check that in a little bit. So here I am back at the email that I received when the WordPress site was successfully set up in HostGator. And as you see the URL here, byopro.com. So this is about half an hour later after the previous video. So I'm going to click on byopro.com now and see what happens. And it goes directly to a completely different page, which is in fact our new website. So this is our new website, byopro.com. Very plain. But this is the website. So what we're going to do is use this as the basis to build our website from. So let's go back to the email once more and then click on the admin section. So first of all, I'm going to actually copy and paste the password that I received within this email and click on here. And then we'll log into the admin section of the WordPress site. So the username was David, of course, and the password copied and pasted there. Let's just log into there and we'll see what the behind the scenes look like for this website. And here we go. So this is behind the scenes in WordPress. This is actually the admin section of the CMS, the content management system that is WordPress. So you've got all these different posts and media pages, plugins, user tools, settings that you can set up. And that will completely change the look and feel of your site and do so many amazing things to your site. However, I'm not going to show you here how to do those changes, because the next couple of videos I'm going to show you how to set up WordPress within Traffic Planet hosting. So remember what I said about it depends on your budget. If you've only got a budget of about $5 per month, go for HostGator. If you've got a bigger budget of about $25 per month, then go for Traffic Planet hosting. So the next few videos I'm going to show you setting up WordPress within Traffic Planet hosting. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to set up WordPress inside Traffic Planet hosting. So this has been, of course, how to set up WordPress inside HostGator. Now, once the installation process is complete, whether it's HostGator or Traffic Planet hosting, then after that, the design changes for your blog are exactly the same. So it doesn't matter what host you're using after that, after WordPress is installed. The differences are in getting your site installed to begin with. So that's why I wanted to cover HostGator, and I will cover Traffic Planet hosting in the next couple of videos in terms of getting your WordPress site set up. Now, if you're definitely using HostGator, there's no need to watch the installation process for Traffic Planet hosting. But if you're still unsure at this stage, then watch the next couple of videos as well. And I'll show you how to install the blog, the WordPress powered website properly in Traffic Planet hosting, and then you can make a decision after that with regards to your hosting. Okay, my preferred option and my recommended option is for you to sign up with Traffic Planet hosting and host your WordPress powered website there. So that's what I do. And in terms of signing up there, all you just go is go to their homepage and just click on see plans and pricing and sign up from there. Now they start off at $24.99 per month. That's actually 5 website installations, so you've got a few spare ones there as well if you want. Of course, if you have loads of sites, you can possibly pay for one of their more expensive packages. Now, all you do is you'd click Getting Started there. So, just quickly, first of all, why Traffic Planet Hosting? Well, first of all, they're a specialist WordPress host. So that's all they focus on. So they know exactly what the potential issues with having WordPress as your CMS can be. So they focus on that and they try and make WordPress as fast as possible, as responsive as possible. HostGator is a bigger host. So HostGator have lots of different things that they're focusing on. So perhaps they don't have their eye fully on WordPress. They're one of the better shared hosts, HostGator. So I'm not saying bad things about them at all. And in terms of shared hosts and cheap hosts, they're probably one of the best out there. But if you're happy paying that little bit more, go for someone like Traffic Planet Hosting. So I say someone like Traffic Planet Hosting. Another website quite like that, just to give you another option, is called WP Engine, and they're a specialist again in WordPress hosting. But Traffic Planet Hosting, in my mind, are quite similar, but they're a bit cheaper as well, and they seem very, very responsive in terms of support. So I'm very happy with Traffic Planet Hosting. Of course, that may change at some point in the future, but that's certainly very much my feelings at the moment. So in terms of signing up, just click Get Started there. That's probably the plan that you'd need. So $24.99 per month. And then, of course, similar to the HostGator sign-up process, what you have to select is whether or not you want to register a new domain, transfer your domain, or update your existing name servers. Now, I highly recommend, of course, doing that, updating your existing name servers. So it means amending the name servers of a domain name that you have already. So I've got some domains registered on Godaddy already. That's my preferred place of registering domain names. So all I would do is click that option there and then select the domain name here as well. Now, I'm actually not going to go through the order process from here on Traffic Planet Hosting. It's quite simple. You can easily do it. Those are the options to choose to begin with. Remember the previous video I recorded on selecting a domain name in GoDaddy. So just go through that process, buy your domain name in GoDaddy, and then once you've done that, you can go to the GoDaddy dashboard, click on Manage Your Domains, then just go directly to your domains, and then when you sign up with Traffic Planet Hosting will give you an email, and within that email from Traffic Planet Hosting will be the name servers of Traffic Planet Hosting. So those two name servers that you'll recall that we changed from HostGator, the HostGator sign-up process. So these are the domain details, and this is the domain name I'm going to be using for this particular exercise. So it's called businessbookofthemonth.com, and I'm using this one because this is a real website that I'm going to be setting up. This is a new podcast that I'm going to be starting with a few colleagues. So I'm going to show you the full setup process of this website. This is the example that I'm going to give. So here are the name servers section. So I would just click on Manage there, and then I would update that by clicking Custom and then selecting Add Name Server, then adding the 2 name servers that I get from the Traffic Planet Hosting email. So if you're using Traffic Planet Hosting, just do that. Have your domain registered through GoDaddy. Get the name servers from the Traffic Planet Hosting setup process and change your name servers here. And remember, like HostGator, like the HostGator example, once you select your name servers here and click OK, then you have to click a Save button after that. Once you do that, it may take a few minutes, it may take half an hour, it may take a day for your changes to propagate fully. So for your website to work properly on Traffic Planet Hosting. Completely normal. You just have to bide your time a little bit there, and then we will get to the fun part of managing your WordPress installation. So once you open your Traffic Planet Hosting account, so how do you set up your WordPress installation in there? So once you're logged in, then just click My Services and click on WordPress Hosting. And then you will be able to manage all sites within your account. So your account name will be named after your initial domain name. That's not a problem. You can change that if you want, but just click on Manage All Sites in this account. And then after that, what you want to click on is Manage Websites. And then after you click on Manage Websites, you can scroll down and you can see all your existing websites on this particular account. So you may be aware of a couple of other websites that are run, 26weekplan.com and digitalmarketingradio.com. So as you can see, I run them from Traffic Planet Hosting. So I would only recommend a service that I use or I really believe in myself. So that's why I use Traffic Planet Hosting. So, but anyway, you need to add your new domain name to here. So I've already copied and pasted it. So copy and paste it in here, businessbookofthemonth.com, and then click Add Website. And then when you do that, you'll see that your domain name, your new domain name, appears magically under here in your existing websites in Traffic Planet Hosting. So then click one-click WP install. And after you do that, scroll down and you get to this section here. So install WordPress, and you just have to select the domain name again actually. So businessbookofthemonth.com, and it automatically creates a database for the WordPress installation called the same as your domain name, Business Book of the Month. So 99 times out of 100, that'll be fine. So just go with what it suggests here and then click Install WordPress. Now, I'm presuming that you've already been to Godaddy and pointed your Nameservers at Traffic Planet Hosting. So if you haven't done that already, go and do that. Then that'll take half an hour, maybe a bit longer to actually work properly. But if you have done that, you should be able to now, at this stage, go straight to your web browser, type in your domain name. So for me, it's businessbookofthemonth.com, and you get a screen like this. So you set up WordPress directly from your domain name. So I'm actually in the UK, so I'm going to select English UK. I'm not sure how much difference it makes really. And then you've got to go through here and then enter your site title, your username, your password, and then click on the final Install WordPress button there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You go ahead and do it with your own blog there, and then after that, we'll see you right inside the WordPress admin section. And here we go. That's me inside the admin section of businessbookofthemonth.com. So the website address is just businessbookofthemonth.com/wp-admin. So whatever your domain name is, your admin, your login screen and your home screen for managing your website through WordPress will be your domain name .com /wp-admin. So it's always going to be the same for WordPress sites. So if you wonder where to go to log in, that's where you go. And then of course you just use your username and your password, and then you log in, and then you get a screen similar to this, which is your installation of WordPress. Now I've got the live site here, which is what businessbookofthemonth.com actually looks like at the moment. Now you may wonder why it looks slightly different, or in fact quite different compared with byopro.com. byopro.com simply has by default a different theme, so a different design of the blog, of the WordPress powered website to begin with. It doesn't matter, we can easily change that. It's essentially the same thing. We've got WordPress installed through HostGator. We've got now WordPress installed through the other hosting service, Traffic Planet Hosting. So you can choose which one to go for. As I say, I prefer Traffic Planet Hosting. I prefer paying a little bit more for a specialist WordPress host, but that's entirely up to you. So that's WordPress installed now, and now the fun starts. Now we can start personalizing and designing and optimizing your WordPress powered website. Now, just before we start to really change the look and feel of your WordPress powered website, I just want to show you one thing here, and that is the difference in speed at the moment between the two different WordPress powered websites that I've set up. So byopro.com and businessbookofthemonth.com. If you remember, byopro.com was powered by HostGator, and the only difference, apart from the host, was actually the default theme that happened to be installed on the WordPress powered website. So within byopro.com was actually a theme called 2015, and within businessbookofthemonth.com happened to be a theme called 2014. These were themes that were installed generally by WordPress and designed as free themes to give away and get you started. So what I want to do here is actually change the default theme of byopro.com to 2014 to the same as businessbookofthemonth.com, just to make everything exactly the same before I conduct a test. So how do you change the theme of a blog? Well, the theme is like a piece of code that goes on top of your core WordPress installation, and that changes the look and feel of the design, the text within that WordPress powered website as well. So the theme changes how it looks, not the core code underneath it, but just the design elements of that code. So we'll get more into themes in a little bit. Don't worry about it too much at the moment, but just in terms of where your themes are and how to change that. So have a look in your admin menu, and in the appearance section, you'll see themes there. So just click on that there, and you'll probably see a few themes that have been pre-installed on your WordPress installation. So I'm just going to activate 2014 here for byopro.com. So I've done that. So that's activated. So that means that byopro.com will look, hopefully, just like businessbookofthemonth.com, and indeed it does. If you remember, Business Book of the Month looked very much like that, in fact, this is businessbookofthemonth.com. So you see it's exactly the same. So it's BYO Pro, Business Book of the Month. So exactly the same in terms of design, in terms of what's installed there at the moment in terms of content, and there's no additional plugins, no additional pieces of code that could increase the speed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to conduct two very quick speed tests just to have a look at the difference in how these sites are loading. So there's a website that I quite like to use for this called webpagetest.org. So feel free to use that for your own site. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use the default test location. The important thing is to make sure that both tests are run on the same default test location. So I've clicked start test for this one here for Business Book of the Month. So while we're doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to start another one here for byopro.com. So I'm just copying and pasting byopro.com, opening up the second web page test tab that I have open, and click start test for that as well. So it can just take a minute or two for these tests to complete. So what I've done is I've forwarded the video to a minute or two after the last video was taken, and you'll see the test result here. And this is an important figure here where my mouse is. You'll see that for byopro.com, the first time loading time of the website was 1.935 seconds. Repeat view is always faster because of local caching. I don't want to go into that too much or so because it's not that important at the moment. The important figure to know is 1.935 seconds. So it doesn't seem so slow, actually. It seems like a reasonable speed, doesn't it? However, look at the speed for businessbookofthemonth.com. Already we have a first time load speed of 0.952 seconds. So it's about a second faster, but it's not just a second faster. So I've done the calculation here. Look at this. So I've divided 1.935 seconds by 0.952 seconds, and you see that businessbookofthemonth.com is over 2 times faster, over twice as fast as byopro.com. And if you imagine what happens to the speed of the website when you get more content on there, you get a logo on there, you get a few photos on there and a video on there. If you have a server that can perform a lot better and more efficiently, then that's probably going to replicate itself by if you have a page that takes longer to load. So for instance, if you have a page with more content on it, it's going to take a little bit longer to load. So instead of having a page that takes 0.9 seconds to load, it might take 3 seconds to load. However, double that for HostGator, and you might have the same page taking 6 seconds to load in HostGator. So that's one reason. You've got a server there which is really optimized and focused on WordPress and will generally always load faster because you're paying more money, there's less websites hosted in the same server, and it's better optimized for WordPress. So hopefully that emphasizes to you why I really recommend paying that little bit more money, getting a server that's specialist for WordPress, and hopefully if you have a business that means a lot to you, then you'll recognize that the experience that you're delivering to your users by delivering a website that loads in a couple of seconds as opposed to multiple times perhaps slower than that, then it's going to be a lot more of a pleasurable experience for your users. And of course people are going to stay in your website for longer and potentially buy your things more as well. So go for a website host that loads as quickly as possible. That's all I'm going to say about hosting now. The next videos are going to focus more on developing your WordPress powered website. Okay, the first thing that you need to do inside your WordPress back office is to customize a few settings. So this is yourdomain.whatever/wp-admin. So remember always that wp-admin to reach your admin section of your WordPress website. Now, if you go to Settings and then click on General, then you'll see, first of all, your site title, tagline there as well, and also your URL, your website address of your website. Now, first of all, your site title. So you can change this to something else if you want. That's just your main title that perhaps becomes your heading of your site as well on your homepage. Probably just keep it as your brand at the moment, and you can always alter that in the future. But of course, you'll want to choose this. And change it as well. So that's the tagline, just another WordPress site. So that can sometimes actually be the description in search engine results. So you certainly don't want that to appearing there. So at the moment I've got just a description written here. I haven't thought a great deal about it, so all I've done is a monthly podcast discussing the latest books in our Business Book of the Month Club. So that's what I've called it there. I might take out the full stop there actually. So that's going to be the tagline at the moment. It depends what theme I use for the design of my site as to where that tagline might appear. So it's something that's better obviously than was there, but I may change again in the future. Now the next thing to have a look at here is your website address, and that's http://www. in this instance here. Now most websites, I think, probably should have a structure like that. Some websites choose to have a structure without www. The most important thing is you keep to just the one working from an SEO perspective. So, for instance, if I go to the existing site, businessbookofthemonth.com, you can see that loads. But if I take out the www, it actually redirects to www. And that's good from a search engine optimization perspective, because what you don't want is to have two different URL versions of your site loading, because then search engines will get a little bit confused and won't be sure necessarily which one to rank. So within your settings here, you should stipulate your site address, and then you should check that the non-www version redirects to your www version, or vice versa, whichever version you want to be the main version of your website. If it doesn't, then what you need to do is contact your host, and then they will be able to assist you, pointing you along the right direction to ensure that happens correctly. You've got a few other settings here as well. You've got your email address, obviously. You've got your time zone, date format, time format there as well. So you can change that there as well. You can change your site language there as well. But the most important thing in there as well is at the top. These three things, having your site title, tagline, and your main site address. So that is in the general section of the settings. Now, if I move down to the next one, which is writing, so let's click on that there as well. Now, within the writing section here, the main thing that I want to make you aware of is the default post category. Now, at the moment, by default, it's uncategorized. When you start publishing posts within your blog, now your blog could be a separate section of your WordPress website, and it's all managed here by the same admin section. So the blog I'm talking about now, if you're blogging particularly about one subject and you wish that one subject to be your default post type, then when you're actually creating posts, and we'll get to posts in a bit, you'll have categories associated with it. So you'll then see more categories here. And what you want to make sure is the default category is the most common category, the most common type of blog post that you want to regularly publish. So there we go. That's probably the two most important things there when it comes to general and writing there. Next tab is reading that I would like to show you. And in terms of reading, you've got a few options here. Your front page could display your latest posts, or it could also include feature a static page instead. And then you can select another page for your post page. So this is what you would select if you didn't want your home page to be your latest blog posts. Then that's using WordPress more of a business type website, and that's what most business websites do. They will have their front page as a static page. They will create a separate static page within their pages section of the menu. Don't worry, I'll show you this pages section a little bit more later on. But if you want to do that, then that would mean, of course, that your posts page would have to be something different. So you create a different page URL, probably /blog, to house your latest blog posts, and then you structure your site like that. You can also change things like having your latest number of blog posts. It could maybe be your latest 2 or your latest 3 blog posts rather than your latest 10 blog posts. You've got your latest feed content. So your feed, your RSS feed, is what people use to subscribe to your blog, or you could syndicate your content elsewhere. And then you've got an option here of including your full text or summary within a feed there as well. And I would certainly also at the bottom here, search engine visibility, make sure that this one is unticked. So have a look at this. If you are working on your website at the moment and it's a new site and you don't want it to be indexed by search engines until you actually start publishing your site to the style, the end look that you want it to look like, then simply tick this box and click Save Changes. That way search engines will be discouraged from crawling and ranking your site. Next up is your discussion settings. So inside here, it's really about what happens when people want to comment on your blog. So you can also automatically notify any blogs linked to from the article. So if you publish a blog post and then you link to that blog post, you can automatically notify that other blog post out there on the other site that you have written about them. And that's called a ping and a trackback. So you can also say allow link notifications from other blogs, that's pingbacks and trackbacks. So in other words, if other people write about you, then would you want to include those notifications within your comments there? You can try it to begin with, and if you get too many of them or too irrelevant pingbacks and trackbacks, then you can just untick this and not include that within your posts. Also allow people to post comments in new articles there as well. So that's by default. To begin with, you're unlikely to have lots of comment spam, but it may happen in the future. So if that's the case, then there are other comment settings that you can use to try and alleviate that. Comment author must fill in name and email. Users must be registered and logged in to comment, or automatically close comments or articles older than 14 days. So these are a few things that you can be doing to actually make it less likely that you're going to be getting too many spam comments. One thing that I notice is that if your blog post has been live for quite a while, then it's probably more likely to get a few spammy type comments. So that's why this option is available after you've published your article initially. That's probably where it's had its initial social shares and a few real comments on there, and perhaps after that, comments after that are less likely to be real comments. Enable nested comments so you can have discussions within comments. Break comments into different pages, so if you get loads of comments on the same page, it's not something that you should worry about to begin with, but it's just something for you to be aware of. You can also have options of whether anyone can post a comment and whether a comment should be held for your moderation. whether or not it must be manually improved. You can also have things like holding a comment if it contains 2 or more links. So that's quite good. That's a common way of dealing with spam, because often spam contains extra links back to someone else's website. So the discussion section is a good thing to be aware of once you start publishing a lot of content. Moving on to the media section within the settings menu, and this is where you control the image sizes of the images that you load up. So by default it's 150 by 150 pixels or 300 by 300 pixels if what happens is you're loading a larger file in there and you include it within a blog post. However, you might have a particular blog post style where the standard image may look better if it's something like 400 by 400. If that's the case, then set these, like either the thumbnail size or probably the medium size, to 400 by 400. Then when you're actually publishing a blog post, you can select medium size of image and it'll automatically go to 400 by 400 or whatever size suits you. So that's quite a useful thing to have there as well. One other thing within this menu that I'd like to tell you about is permalinks. Now this is very, very important. Do not leave it at default. Choose custom structure. So by default, it's businessbookofthemonth.com/?P equals 123. So P equals, and this is obviously the ID number of the post that you have published. But it's not very search engine friendly. Search engines don't particularly like question marks because they think that the real URL has ended then, and also it doesn't include any phraseology that indicates what the page is about. So I much prefer, and I think most people recommend, post name as the structure. So that would be if you wrote a post about a particular book. So the first book, breaking news, that we're going to be featuring on the Business Book of the Month podcast is The One Thing. So if I have a post about that, I would probably have the URL businessbookofthemonth.com/the-one-thing. And then that's optimized nicely for that book. But it's also tells readers who are actually seeing that URL without actually viewing the web page what the post is likely to be about. So this is the very important thing. So I'm going to save that right now because that's the custom structure that I'm going to use for Business Book of the Month. Next up, we're going to take a look at the users section. So if you click on users there on the left-hand nav menu inside your admin panel of WordPress. Now, it'll probably just be you that appears there. Now, if you have a gravatar, that is an image that's associated with your email address set up at gravatar.com already, then it will probably find an image of you there. If not, you can do that at gravatar.com. But anyway, I'm going to click on my username here and have a look at the things that I want to amend. The important thing that I would like to do is first of all add my first name and last name there. My username is just David actually. The email I'm using is david@digitalmarketingradio.com. So I've got a couple of other things to copy across here. So one is the URL. So that's the website address that I'm going to use at the moment actually, digitalmarketingradio.com. And I've got a small bio here. I've just written that a second ago here. It's not that significant. Founder and host of Digital Marketing Radio, podcast that features weekly interviews with online marketing gurus. Because depending on the theme, the design that we end up having, that may or may not feature within the design. But it's good practice just to make sure that it is there at the moment. So you will scroll down to the bottom there and click Update Profile. So that's your user information sorted there as well. Next little section we're going to have a look at is media. Now media is where you upload images that you want to include either within your website, your whole WordPress website anywhere, or somewhere within a blog post. So you just click Add New, select Files, and it's just a case of uploading them from your own computer there. So not a problem there, but I just wanted to show you where to do it. And then finally, I want to show you the comments section. Now the comments section is where comments will appear where other people have added a comment underneath one of your blog posts or your pages on your site. So you may find that you get loads and loads of comments If that's the case, then you have to manage them, or you have to perhaps bring in some kind of anti-spam plugin to deal with it, or perhaps switch comments off. But anyway, if you've got comments coming in, this is where they will appear. You'll get a little alert icon to show you that there are comments that you haven't looked at or approved or interacted with. So we've got one default comment there as well in response to the existing default post, which is hello world. Every single post is like that. Now within here you can actually reply to it and add your own reply, including bold, italic, within links in there as well. And as well as approving this blog comment, you can also actually add your comment at the same time, and then you'd scroll across here and then click on the reply icon, and that would be added to the blog post. So comments are fairly easy to deal with, but it's an important thing to be aware of within a WordPress CMS. Okay, so the next stage is for you to get the design done for your website, and that's a case of you clicking on Appearance and then Themes within your WordPress admin. Now you'll see already here that you may have a few active themes already installed. What is a theme? Well, a theme is just a design template that ends up making your WordPress powered site look something completely different compared with other WordPress powered sites out there. And there are tens of thousands of different themes out there. And of course, once you get a theme, that's not it as well. You can actually delve into the code or simply design widgets to amend different parts of that theme to again make it look distinctive for your own particular website. So the theme that we've got here that's active just now is called 2014, but that's not the theme that we're going to have for the final look and feel of the website. So where do we find lots of different themes? There's a really popular website called Theme Forest. So this is the themeforest.net. However, I actually wouldn't recommend getting a theme here. Now you can get some really decent themes here, and you could be really, really lucky and get a theme from a designer, where a designer comes back and updates the theme on a regular basis. But the thing about the internet and the thing about WordPress is generally things are updated on a fairly regular basis. And what you want is a theme that isn't likely to break when WordPress updates or when other aspects of your site are updated. You want to make sure that the theme is compliant. So you want to pick a theme first of all that will work with future versions of your website. And these are themes designed by independent designers. So I would probably stay away from using a theme like this. But I'm not necessarily saying that all themes here aren't going to work in the future. Some could be absolutely wonderful and unique designs and quite the right thing to do, but you don't know for absolute sure. What I would recommend instead is getting a theme framework called Genesis. What is a theme framework? A theme framework is essentially the coding structure that's added to WordPress to make it a little bit more efficient in terms of coding. And also this particular one is run by a big stable company called StudioPress. The great thing about it is that it's mobile responsive straight out of the box. It's great value. It's only about $50. It's wonderful for SEO. It's also highly customizable as well. So it's not necessarily going to look just like this. That's the standard version of Genesis, but most people use what's called a child theme on top of their core Genesis framework. So the child theme delivers the real look and feel of your site, but the Genesis framework delivers the power, the coding efficiency, the great fast streamed website that you want to deliver your visitors. So the Genesis framework is what you want to use, and then you want to use probably a child theme on top of it. These child themes are highly customizable as well, quite often, so they're really, really useful. And also, of course, Genesis is constantly updated. It's more future-proof than most other themes. So I've already purchased StudioPress Genesis, so all I would do is actually log in, and then when I log in, I click the download icon, and what I would want to do is download Genesis from the StudioPress website. So let's do that. Okay, that's Genesis actually downloaded already. and as you see from the bottom left-hand side of my screen, it's a zip file it's downloaded. So what I want to be doing now is dragging that to my desktop as it is, and then going over to WordPress to install it. So I'll drag that over to my desktop, and then I'll see you back inside my WordPress admin, and I'll show you how to install it. Okay, this is me back inside my WordPress admin. So I'm in Appearance and Themes there. So what I want to do now is click on Add New next to Theme, and then it gives me lots of options to actually install themes directly from here. But instead of actually installing something directly, I'm going to click on Upload Theme and choose File. Now I'm going to go to my desktop from there, and if I click on Genesis, and I'm just slightly off the screen there, so I'll go up here just to show you what I'm doing there, and then I'll click Open there, and then Install Now. So I simply dragged that file after it had been downloaded to my desktop, and then it was on my desktop, so all I had to do was upload it here into the theme section of the WordPress admin. So as you see, it says unpacking, installing, and then installed successfully. Now I could either preview it or activate it straight away. Now as this blog or WordPress website isn't actually actively used at the moment, I'm just going to click activate it. If you're not too sure about it, then of course you can preview it beforehand as well. So let's have a little look to see what the actual site looks like now. So you can actually crawl over there at the top and then just hover down to visit site, and we'll see what the site looks like. So it's hardly changed that much, but it has changed a bit because there's now not a great deal of content in there. So that's the core version of Genesis installed on businessbookofthemonth.com. Now, I mentioned to you previously that one of the great things about using the Genesis framework, the Genesis Theme Framework, was that you could use so many child themes alongside that to actually completely change visually the look and feel of this particular framework. And it means, of course, that you can take advantage of the framework code efficiency, but you can use design elements from these child themes to completely change the look and feel of your website. So in terms of coding efficiency and future-proof aspects, it's a great way to do it. So this is me on the StudioPress website, so just studiopress.com/themes. You can easily navigate to this, I'm sure, from the StudioPress homepage. And if I scroll down, you can see lots of different examples of child themes that you can use with the Genesis framework. Depending on what your business is, if it's an agency, if it's a food type business, different business themes there as well, news type websites, that's a real estate agent type theme. So you've got loads of different themes, and don't just think that your website is going to look exactly like this. If you actually start with the child theme, there are probably lots of other options within that of changing the basic colouring. So for instance, the grey at the top there's probably about 10 different colours that you can choose from. So lots of different child themes there, and that is just within the StudioPress website. However, there are loads of child themes for Genesis that are also sold independently. So all you have to do is search Google for great Genesis child themes, or best Genesis child themes. Here's a blog post that I found. Now, here's some child themes, some of them which are developed by Genesis, some of them which are independent as well. So just browse through as many different of these child themes as you want, and it depends on your business. But if you can find something that's really right for you, I mean, look at this, it's a great app type theme there as well. Really modern and sleek, and I'm sure it'll be very nice from a mobile device as well. Now, most of them have demo options as well. So if you just click on the demo link, it'll probably actually take you to a page that actually shows you what it's like there. So this is what the theme looks like there. It's a very modern, cool looking theme there. And of course, you can test by squeezing your browser in at either side. So if I take my browser in, then it will show you what this particular theme might look like on a mobile device. As you can see, this is very, very mobile friendly indeed. So if this is a mobile phone, it will probably look something like this. If it was a tablet device, it would probably look something like this. and of course, if it's a full-size website, then you get the full look and feel there as well. So just have a think about, what you can do with this. But this, I've just stumbled upon this. It's a beautiful looking theme, and this is a child theme for Genesis. So have a look to see what's out there. Check first of all the StudioPress website. Next of all, search Google for Genesis child themes, best Genesis style themes. What I'm going to do personally, because Business Book of the Month is going to be a podcast, I'm already a pro member of this Genesis theme provider. It's a website called Appendipity. So if you are wanting to do your website as a podcast, then it's worthwhile looking at that. I'm probably going to use Marin Pro for businessbookofthemonth.com. So this is what Marin Pro looks like, and as you see, it looks completely different to the theme that we just looked like. It's so just because you've got the initial look and feel from Genesis, it doesn't mean that it can't be completely changed. And of course, things like color elements in there can be changed within the child theme generally as well. So what I'm going to do is log into my Appendipity. Find the theme that I want to download. Just click the download link. So this is me downloading a child theme link. In fact, this is not the theme that I want. This is an Automate theme. I'm going to look for Marin Pro. So that's the theme that I want. So click and download that one there as well. So I have downloaded that. Now what I'm going to do is going to do exactly the same thing, and I'm going to drag that across to my desktop, and then I will see you inside the WordPress admin and show you how to install the child theme. So back in the WordPress dashboard, I need to go to Appearance and Themes there. And what I'm going to do is add new theme again. So this is going to be from the desktop again. So I'm going to upload the theme and choose the file from the desktop. So it's going to be the Marin theme, Marin Pro theme, and that's it there. And click Open, and then Install Now. So that should just take a minute or two to install, to basically upload to my server there. And then after that, I just need to preview if I want to and activate it. So I can see now that it's unpacked, it's installed, and it says this theme requires a parent theme, checking if installed. And the parent theme Genesis is currently installed. Now, of course, you can only actually activate one theme at a time. So Genesis is currently activated. However, what I need to do is activate the child theme, and as long as if Genesis is installed within the themes here in WordPress, then that's completely fine. So I've activated that, and now that should be live. So again, there's not a great deal in the site in terms of content at the moment, but there we go. You can see that the theme is now in situ. So this is the theme, and then once I start to add content, then I can start to use all the different widgets and elements, such as the audio player within this particular theme. So I'm excited to get going with this, but that is now a child theme successfully installed for Genesis. That's what you want to do. You want to install Genesis first of all, then install the child theme, activate the child theme. As long as you've got Genesis installed, then you can start customizing the child theme. Now, I want to start by making sure that I'm comfortable with the design and I really like it, because I can quite easily revert to another child theme if I really wanted to. So let's just spend the first few moments just reviewing what the site looks like, just to make sure I'm happy with it and I want to stick with this one. So first of all, the thing I notice is that the tagline at the top here, to me, is a little bit long. So what I've done is I've just written another one actually. So I'm going to get the other one across here and copy and paste that. So this one is now going to be a monthly podcast discussing our business book of the month. So it's just a slightly shorter tagline. So I'm going to go into general settings within the WordPress admin, and then the tagline is here, and then copy and paste the new one in there. So just to make sure, a monthly podcast discussing our business book of the month. So that was indeed the new one there. So I have to scroll down here and click on Save the Changes. So I just want to show you me doing that. So those changes should have been saved now. So if I go back to the WordPress site, and if I refresh this page, clicking on the refresh button, then the tagline shrinks, and that looks a lot nicer. That's about the right length to me. I may change that again in the future, but that looks better to me. In fact, it looks slightly dark, but I'll keep it as it is just now, design-wise. There might be a way of slightly making that more light grey, because it's quite a dark grey at the moment. So, but maybe I might not feel like that when the design's complete. So let's keep that as it is at the moment. Now, the other thing that I want to try is to see what the media player looks like, because that's quite an important part of a podcast site. So I have just copied and pasted here the URLs to one of my latest podcast episodes on digital marketing radio. So that's me copied and pasted that there. And I'm going to go back to the WordPress admin and go into posts, and then find the only post that exists, which is the default Hello World post at the moment. So I'm just playing about here at the moment. The appendipity settings are down here. So what I've done is actually I've copied and pasted that podcast MP3 URL into the appendipity podcast settings, which is essentially where you put your media URLs for your podcast. Then you want to click the update button there as well. Now, after that's done, you can click to view the post, and it'll be interesting to see what the podcast player looks like. And here it is. And I'm pretty happy with that, actually. I think that looks pretty cool. It's a nice big button there. I quite like the orange there. There might be an option of changing it to another color within the theme settings there. So if I play that there, you won't be able to hear that playing, actually, but I can, and it seems all right to me. So that's pretty good. I'm really happy with that. One other thing that I would like to do actually is test to see what it looks like on a mobile device. So let's take the browser and stretch that a little bit there as well. So this is more what it would look like on a mobile device, probably like this on a tablet. So I'm really happy with the responsive nature of this website, actually. I think it would look good on a mobile. Quite a bit of traffic comes through mobile devices nowadays. You've got to make sure that your website looks good on all the different types of devices that your audience is likely to use. We've got some nice social share icons here as well. So they go down. I'm not sure how they would actually perform on a mobile device. Maybe the functionality is slightly different. I'd probably test that on a smartphone just to see if that worked all right. You've got sharing icons there as well. You've got a lot more that I can add, and I will add here. I'll add maybe some kind of email newsletter down here. I'll perhaps do some kind of email out when the latest business book of the month is launched. So, but on the whole, I'm really happy with that, because I think it's a fantastic starting point to the website. So I'm going to proceed with this particular theme and show you me developing it further.